My classmate has been working in a bank for more than 10 years. Yesterday, he suddenly resigned because the bank implemented a large-scale pay cut, reducing his monthly salary from 3,500 to 900. For my classmate, this is simply not enough to pay the mortgage. Many people had the same pay cut as him, so the bank employees protested and gathered in front of the bank to demand a reasonable salary. The news spread like wildfire. The bank explained that people choose to do more savings, so it's difficult to make loans, and even more deadly, more and more people are paying off their mortgages early, and there are fewer and fewer new loans, resulting in a decline in revenue. As the Chinese economy continues to decline, the banking industry, which was once considered to be making money in bed, is now also facing an overall contraction. Many bank staff have no choice but to run around on the streets to get loan business. Today, let's talk about why the Chinese banking industry is experiencing a cold winter. But before we do, we would like to invite you to subscribe. Your support is our greatest motivation and allows us to bring you more valuable content. Now, moving on. The account manager of a bank in Nanjing, China recently posted a video about going outside in the cold to look for business and individuals in need of loans, but she found none. She lamented it was so difficult. Friends in banks, are we all in the same situation? It's bitterly cold outside and we're still walking around. We're out for sales and there are piles of paperwork that need to be done at the office too. When doing paperwork, we're told to go out to find the business. It's so hard, we can't do anything right. I have also visited all the major markets in the area. Too few people need loans. Are any companies that need loans still in business? In the past 2 years, due to the impact of the pandemic and the economic decline, too many companies have gone bankrupt. You say it's difficult for companies, but it's even more difficult for banks and even more difficult for bank employees. Account managers are the most difficult. Now there are more and more indicators for banks to evaluate, and they are becoming more and more detailed. In addition to business conditions, there are also political elements and many different and trivial things need to be assessed. I only have one brain, and sometimes I really can't keep up. The employee who scored 0 for getting business is asked to talk. I want to get the loan business too, but where is the person who wants a loan? Where is the company? Her video resonated with many of her peers. An account manager in Chongqing complained online. Going out is given the cold shoulder, eye rolls and teased. My job becomes endlessly going door to door to hand out leaflets and making sales calls, never being able to close a loan or collect overdue debts. There are so many account managers who wants to downgrade to tellers. The wife of a bank employee in Fujian province left a message saying, "My husband works for a bank. I don't understand the bank system and disagree with the work culture. The top management gets generous salary while the people under them work their fingers to the bone. They only care about the results, not the process. These managers deduct the salary of subordinates on every occasion. The salary is not high and employees' lives are already in the red line. Working in banks is a pretty disgusting profession." The overall Chinese economy is in a slump, business is difficult, and many small and medium-sized enterprises have gone bankrupt. Although some companies barely survive, they generally do not need to get loans to expand their business. In such severe economic depression, no one dares to borrow and invest recklessly. Chinese families with savings do not want to buy apartments because of the depressed real estate market, so home mortgages are shrinking. The current bank presidents are going crazy. They worry when they don't have money, and they worry when they have money. The presidents are scared when now money is pouring back like snowflakes, because that is the money the banks rent out. They make a circle and come back. No matter what is said by top officials, no matter what policies are introduced, no matter what measures are taken, people just don't want to spend, don't want to buy properties, don't want to invest, don't want to spend money. They just want to keep the money as savings in the bank. Many friends in the bank say that they have already reached their annual deposit targets at the beginning of the year, and their loan targets are still far from being reached. The time is at the end of 2024. If things continue like this, the banks will really go crazy. The problem of having too much money is even worse than the problem of not having enough money. A person with a screen name Brother Kwan said that high-value customers don't want loans, while customers who want loans are considered risky by banks, which are unwilling to give them loans. How difficult is it for banks to provide loans these days? We all know that in recent years, due to the poor economic situation, less stringent requirements are set for loans. However, as a result, the delinquency rate has risen sharply, so the risk control in the credit review process has become even stricter. Another reason is that most people today have credit problems of one kind or another. Either they have taken out too many online loans, had too many inquiries, have high debt levels, etc. All of this affects the bank's approval of the loan, which means that a large proportion of people will be rejected by the bank. As banks, they are also in a difficult position. In their eyes, most of the high-quality customers are not short of money and do not want to take out loans, and those who want to take out loans cannot meet the requirements. Because of some minor credit problems, banks do not give them loans. It's such a contradiction. Netizen Zhang Qiliang said that banks falsify data to meet their lending quotas. It sounds quite ridiculous that banks would lend money to each other in order to meet their quotas. How hard is it for banks to lend loans these days? With 800 million people in the country in debt, it's ridiculous that banks can't lend anymore. It's said that this year is particularly difficult. Whether personal loans or business loans, it's very difficult. My friend at a bank, their branch's task for this year is 6 million lending, and in the first quarter they lent 1.5 million, and in the second quarter it was 0. Then, among the banks, they helped each other to meet their loan quotas. Bank Branch A went to Bank B to apply for a consumer loan, and the loan was repaid after 15 days. Then the staff of Bank B goes to Bank A to apply for a consumer loan, and again they pay it back after 15 days. Anyway, everyone has to get their quarterly performance done first. It's actually quite difficult for banks because they're always trying to figure out how to lend people who aren't short of money. Individuals or bosses who really need help cannot get loans, which is a dilemma. Big banks have stepped up their efforts to promote wealth management, requiring all branch employees to promote this by distributing flyers and other means. In this video, the news says that on September 19th, Miss Chen, who lives in Beijing's Chaoyang district, said a man walked up to her on her way to Subway Line 1 and carefully handed her a flyer. She was about to refuse when the man whispered, "Learn about asset management." Bank staff are required to hand out flyers promoting financial products on the streets. This reflects the unprecedented pressure on the banking industry to survive. Several large state-owned banks such as ICBC, ABC, BOC, and CCB had rather dismal results in the first half of the year, with a general decline in net profit. Even ICBC was not immune, with a decline of nearly 2%. Faced with this predicament, the banks have implemented a marketing strategy across the board, and the bank president is no exception, doing his utmost to promote the wealth management business. A city commercial bank not only launched a number of new products, but also set up generous incentives for account opening. A staff of a joint stock bank said that everyone had to go out and expand the business, and the entire staff of the branch participated in outdoor promotion for 2 hours a day, including the president, the hall manager, the accounts manager, and the personal bankers. The main publicity is for wealth investing products and deposit products. This man said that he has a friend who works as a loan manager in a bank. Every month, the loan task is very large, and if it's not completed, his salary will be cut. If the task is not completed continuously, he will have to leave. Some customers will take the initiative to consult with the bank. If he can successfully persuade these customers to take out loans, he can only earn less than $280 a month, so he goes out every day to solicit loans. My friend goes to the bank for a meeting every morning at 9 o'clock, and the rest of the time he is always on the road, traveling nearly 100,000 kilometers a year in the city alone. What does it mean? Sometimes he has to work until 9 or 10 p.m. before returning to the bank to submit the data and go home. His salary was very high when he first joined the bank, and he was very happy at that time. Now, even when he wants to leave, he finds it hard to do so because of the pressure and responsibility. So why has the company been so hot for the past 2 years? Everything has a reason. Now, banks are in such a mess. In the past, working in a bank was a secure job that would last until retirement. Now, due to changes in policy and market demand, it is no longer a profession that gains envy as it once was.
已经不是我们那个时候所羡慕的行业了。
Banks in China have to lay off staff due to operational pressures. In the first half of the year, the number of employees at the 41 A-share listed banks fell by 42,600 compared with the beginning of the year. State-owned banks led the way in downsizing, with a total reduction of more than 23,700 employees. Most joint stock banks also reduced their staff to varying degrees. At the same time, large banks have also reduced the salaries of their employees. In the past, the average monthly salary in the banking industry started at $4,100, but now it's less than $1,400 or even several $100s. Since the beginning of this year, the total employee payment of China's 42 listed banks has dropped by nearly 100 million. The banks have drastically reduced salaries, including the top 4 banks in China. Some media reports say that China Construction Bank will implement a large-scale pay cut, with headquarter employees taking a 10% pay cut. Employees at branches and subsidiaries across the country will fare even worse, with pay cuts exceeding those at the headquarters. Recently, Zhengzhou Bank announced that starting in 2024, senior management will take a 10% pay cut each year for 2 years. The resulting savings from cutting the salaries will be distributed to frontline employees. According to a report, in mid-May, Zhao Jiai, an account manager at a local bank, received her salary for the month. Her base salary plus performance-based bonus minus fixed deductions for social insurance. She received less than $140. Last month, she received $280, while her monthly salary used to be more than $1,400. The reduction in monthly performance bonuses is one of the reasons for the sharp drop in wages. Zhao Jiai is mainly in charge of deposits and retail business. This year, the commission she can get for attracting deposits has dropped significantly compared to before, and her monthly salary has dropped by more than 90% as a result. Many friends have sent me private messages saying that Ping An Bank has cut their salaries and asking if it's true that I get a 40% cut. In fact, this incident happened more than half a year ago, and the real situation is that we have been getting a 40% cut since September last year. Without exaggeration, I really got 2/3 less income than before. I remember it very well. I even planned to recruit my childhood friend, who is also very talented, to work for me. She now works for Alibaba. At that time, I showed her my salary, which was definitely top level, and she was impressed. But luckily, she didn't come because the changes were really too fast. Shanghai Pudong Development Bank also cut salaries. The salary of a staff who used to earn $3,500 a month was cut to $750. On May 11th last year, a large number of employees gathered in front of the Lujiazui branch of Shanghai Pudong Development Bank and staged a sit-in. There were many security guards at the scene. According to reports, the credit card center was the department subject to the wage cut. These workers did not work after walking into the office, and their seats were covered with paper with the word strike. Some employees posted online that their original monthly salary of $2,750 had been cut to $860. He said, "This is far below my value, and I'm on strike in protest. Please understand." The pay cut notice circulated on the internet shows that the monthly salary of ordinary employees will be adjusted to 50%. The monthly salary of supervisors and above will be adjusted to 40% of their original monthly salary, and employees whose monthly salary is less than $1,000 will not be subject to a pay cut. This truck driver, Zhu Solei, used to be the president of a bank. Although his leaving the bank is not caused by the pay cut, his situation is even worse than that. He wanted to start his own business and resigned from the bank, but unexpectedly encountered the pandemic and ended up losing $9 million. Now he can only make a living as a truck driver. The former bank president owed $9 million, and now he's here running a freight business like us. How much money do you make in a day, Mr. Zhu? I make $50 a day. Can you pay back your $9 million debt? I can't, it's too much. I have to survive. In 2010, I was still the mayor of the town. Then, by chance, my leader recommended me to the local Changsha branch, where I worked for 5 years as president. I dealt with bosses of large and small companies, and I felt I was earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. When I saw that the bosses had luxury cars and mansions and earned millions of dollars a year, I thought at that time that I, Zhu Solei, would be no worse off than those bosses with my own abilities and resources. So, in 2018, I didn't want to work in a bank anymore. I resigned and started my own business. In 1.5 years, I made 2.7 million. When my friends and relatives saw that I had made money, they hoped that I could help them make money too. So I invested another 14 million in real estate and healthcare. What I didn't expect was the pandemic. The projects I invested in went bankrupt one by one. I was getting phone calls every day, mostly from debt collectors. The court sent me files too. I couldn't sleep at night and couldn't eat because the money I owed came from my relatives and friends. In August 2022, the moment the capital chain of the company broke, I collapsed. Thinking about all this, I feel most sorry for my parents who gave me their retirement money. And I feel sorry for my kids too because they need money I can't give as I'm currently working as a long-distance truck driver. That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support and we'll see you next time.